Yo, what up, everybody? How we doing today? We got another podcast with Sturke, Mr. Sturke. You may know him from his YouTube series, such as Stuck on Sturke, or other things he's been doing, such as TikTok. So, Sturke's going to come on today. We're going to ask some questions. I see he is waiting in the waiting room for the stream. We're happy to have him here today. This will be podcast 3 of the Creatorville Podcast. And yeah, I guess we will just jump right into it. And let's say hello to Mr. Sturke. There we go. Good day. How you doing?
What's up, dude?
Not too much. How's your day been?
Good, man. Good.
Good. You doing some Apex after this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
you're masters, right?
Yes, Masters right now.
Awesome. So, I mean, let's just get going. So, obviously, we're doing a podcast here. A couple things that I've been trying to get away from my first couple episodes was it felt like more of an interview when I want to just have it to like flow like a free conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do today. Just try to make it seem more natural. So, anyways, how long do you think you'll get pred this split?
This split, no, but the one that's coming in a couple days is that's my goal, 100%.
So, couple days. When is that coming out? Next Tuesday?
I don't know. I don't know the exact date. I know they just extended it, so I lost the exact date.
Okay, yeah. I feel like Apex always does shit on Tuesday. I don't know if you found that too. I feel like all the events Tuesday, all the updates, something with Tuesdays in Apex. I don't know.
Yeah. So hopefully, but yeah, that's my goal for this upcoming split here. I want to hit pred. I had a lot to work on, so that's what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm. So do you play with the exact same team every day?
I don't have a dedicated team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's been interesting for me. I normally solo queue in ranked, and this season I decided as part of kind of like a discovery series, part of the guides that I'm going to release. I wanted to add a little bit of quality of life to that because I know a lot of people have shitty friends and they push harder than their friends. They don't have anybody to queue with. So I just started inviting people I had good games with. So there are players that I invite sometimes, but we don't necessarily have amazing synergy. They're just tolerable randoms, if that makes sense.
I understand. Like you kind of have just made friends by solo queuing. So maybe instead of solo queuing one day, you're like, oh, this guy's online. He was pretty decent.
Yeah. So like they're better than a random, but not necessarily great synergy on a team.
Yeah. Not like a fully defined team you're playing with every day, training together, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you want to develop that sort of team? Is that in the playbook or no?
Yeah, we're looking for a pred squad. I mean, I made a post on TikTok. I was curious, just kind of as an experiment to see how that would work out. And we got a lot of offers, but I don't know that we have anybody dedicated yet. It's rough out there. We're in a weird place.
Yeah, with like the whole issues going on with ranked, or
well, I mean the big problem is that I have big streamer time because I planned this venture, but I don't have big streamer credentials. So I can't go knock on Nick Merck's door or anybody else and say, hey, play with me. I got 10 viewers.
Yeah.
The streamers at my size don't have the schedule that I have to push for pred. You know what I mean?
That's 100% true. I totally 100% understand that. Like a while back when I was trying to grind ranked, didn't go as well for me, but it was really hard to find a concrete squad to play with, and I did want them to be like content creators and stuff because I just feel like that makes for a better overall experience.
Yeah.
So I totally feel what you're saying there.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
So, with Apex and everything, with the issues over the last week, has that been affecting you quite a bit, or like have you been able to stream through it?
So before all the server issues happened, I had my gameplay evaluated by like multi-season Predator to help me figure out why I was struggling so much to get out of Masters. So I kind of came out with a laundry list of things to work on, and I pulled out a ranked for the rest of the season anyway to go practice that. So it only affected me in the sense that instead of practicing in pubs, I had to take it to arenas, which I do not like arenas. But either way, we're getting our practice in, so it is what it is.
Right. You don't like arenas. Okay, I used to always play arenas, so I'm a big fan of arenas. But I haven't been playing Apex much in general recently.
Yeah. Farming simulator.
Farm Simulator, that's a vibe, man. Love that game. Dude, I legit have Farm Sim on. I can like take care of my soybeans and shit. And I got like Nick Merckx or whoever on the screen beside me, right? So it's nice because it's super relaxing, and then I can watch Apex too. So
yeah. Hey,
yeah,
man, that's what it's about, having fun.
Exactly. It's a good vibe. Some of the people have come up to my chat and like, let's be honest, the stream viewership and stuff isn't so good when I'm playing Farm Simulator, right? But
Sure.
the people who come out and just chat for a while, like, okay, this is actually kind of fun. I'm like, I know, right? It sounds boring, but it's great.
Yeah, no, it's fun. That's what this whole thing is about. You're not having fun, who cares?
It's about having fun, exactly. Like watching plant. Like sometimes you just sit at the side of the field in your combine and you just wait for the plants to grow. Like you legit, it's like watching paint dry, legitimately. But it's fun.
Hey,
Then I
man,
can turn a YouTube video on, or I can turn somebody's stream on. We can watch that while we wait for the plants to grow.
Oh yeah.
So,
People are here to just vibe out with you anyway, so.
exactly. And that's all I want to do. Like, hard day at work. Let's come home after and let's just chillax.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that sign in the background there. Where did you get that made?
Oh, dude, I had that made on Etsy. I thought it
Ooh.
might be good for TikTok to just kind of subliminal messaging, Not
No,
very subliminal, but
It's definitely cool. Yeah, it looks sick. I like it a lot. If you don't mind me asking, how much did you pay for a sign like that?
I think it was only like 120 US, so not too bad.
No, that's
Yeah.
not too bad. No, that's great. It definitely draws your attention.
Yeah, I mean, my justification was, I think I'm at like 1 million views a week or so on TikTok. That means 1 million people a week potentially looking at that sign in their face. So that's worth $120 to me.
Right, I've seen your viewership go up. I've come on your YouTube stream a couple times. You probably don't recognize my name because it's not like T-Steak or anything. It's like streams.tv or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've looked at your viewership though, and like over the last 2 weeks, I think you've gone from, maybe not the last 2 weeks, maybe the last month, you're going from like 1 to 3 viewers per stream to like, what are you at now? Probably 8, 9?
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to average like in the 6 to 8, which is crazy. I mean, at this stage, I've only really done any content push on TikTok. So, that's kind of what I worked on this whole week, was developing like a legitimate hardcore. Now I got TikTok cemented. Now we're going to move to a YouTube strategy. So I'm about to blitz the hell out of YouTube.
Right, yeah. I've seen you. I've been seeing you just grinding away. Like every time I turn on TikTok, it's like, how it shows the lives at the top of your notifications. It's like, hey, Sturke's live. Wouldn't have guessed, right? Just every day, man. Like how long are you live per day?
I probably stream for about 6 hours or so a day.
Oh man, I swear it. I mean, from my end, it seems like more. Like I swear, every time I look, I was assuming you were streaming for like 12 hours a day or something.
No. It's only about 6 hours. On Friday, Saturday, I definitely stay on a little longer than that, just because I don't have to worry about anybody getting up early in the morning. So, but yeah, I'm usually 2 or 3 p.m. Central Time, and then I get off around 8 or 9 usually.
Okay. That's some great hours though. Like I've again definitely seen you grinding away. It's impressive, to say the least. And so Apex, you've been playing it for a long time now. How long did you play it before you started making content out of it?
I haven't been playing it a very long time. I started like the last week of January. So I was one of the first people that came from Warzone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you played Warzone before.
Yeah, I played Warzone before, and I quit before it was cool to quit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we may have had this conversation, I believe, because I also started the end of January. My first TikTok ever was January 22nd, and I basically started playing TikTok that week, or I'm sorry, Apex that week as well. So we started at the exact same time, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, except you're Masters and I'm Bronze 1. So
well, I mean, I'm just a dude. I picked up my first shooter at 6. I stopped gaming for a long time, around 20 years old or so. I mean, I stopped gaming for 8 or 9 years. to focus on career. I just lost it. You couldn't stream at that time, right? Nobody made money streaming. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
But I competed in Counter-Strike for a decade through my teens.
Wow. Okay.
So I am just that kind of player.
Mm-hmm. So you are a competitive player at heart. Like you want to play competitively specifically?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
for me, there's no reason to do anything unless you're going to be the best. It's just my personality.
Mm-hmm.
I obsess. You know, my last 10 to 12 days, I've been obsessively practicing the weaknesses that were identified in my game. And so you come into my stream and you saw me running short range weapons and hip firing because that's what I'm practicing.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. All right. So you're putting in the work. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so you plan to get pred next split. That's the main. Is that the main goal, or is there another goal? Top 50, top 100, anything like that?
The main goal is that I just want to be able to hit and hold pred in North American servers. Because weirdly, I've heard it said before, and it didn't really register until I was in those lobbies, that most American predators are not making Predator on American servers. They're going to where it is softer and easier to do so. And I didn't realize how anybody could know that until I was in those lobbies. At any given time when you're queuing in those lobbies, there's literally 70 people queuing. So you have the same players in every single game. You know every single Pred squad by heart. You can identify them by their skin and what players they're playing because you see them every single game. You know that area is so-and-so's drop spot. That area is so-and-so's drop spot. Oh shit, that's Daltush's team because they're all wearing that skin, playing that comp. You can identify every team. But then you look at the Pred squad list and over half of them are missing in America. Well, that's weird because I don't see them. Nobody sees them. They're doing it somewhere else.
So in like Sao Paulo servers or something like that?
Yeah, they're going somewhere else. And that's something that the pros have said for a long time. And without having experienced it, I thought that was weird. But I queued up on, no disrespect to anybody anywhere else, but I queued up on a server in another part of the world. And their Pred squad was probably platinum, maybe Diamond 4 players. Like we toyed with them just to see.
Yikes, that is rough. That's like, if they're plats and they're repping a Pred badge, basically, like.
Yeah, they were currently Predators. We specifically, I pinpointed them because they were the champion squad. We were playing with them. I mean, the lobbies are full of much lower ranking players. So when you queue into an American Masters and Pred lobby, it's like 95% Masters and Preds and a couple of diamonds sprinkled in. When you queue in another part of the world, they can't fill a Master and Pred lobby. So you have like 1 or 2 Masters and Pred squads, and then the rest of the lobby is Diamond and even Platinum.
Okay.
So it's significantly easier to hit those ranks because you just don't have anybody you're going to run into.
So with these guys in these other countries, like these other servers they're playing on, I should say, they don't necessarily have to be from another country, but would they be comparable to like a console Predators? Like the same kind of vibe, or would they be worse?
I don't have any firsthand experience with console Predators, but from my understanding is that console Pred is probably similar to like Diamond PC. So probably pretty similar feeling, yeah. Okay. But you know, that to me, when I experienced that, made it a big goal that I wanted to make sure that I was Predator in North America because that's where I'm from. You know, that's where I'm currently living, and we have extremely competitive players. For me to go and get a Pred squad, you know, a Predator badge somewhere else doesn't mean anything. If I'm not fighting with all of the pros, you know, most of the pros, even in other countries, are coming over to North American servers to play in ranked lobbies. Look at Jen Burton. He's on Australian ping playing in North America servers.
That must be rough for him, honestly.
Yeah, but you have to. How can he possibly win competitions unless he's playing with the other pros and practicing with the other pros? He can't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he's legendary. He's good. And he's on controller
Absolutely.
too. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of pissing off the controller players. Like love. I don't know if you've seen some of my TikToks, but I just like call it aim assist. I don't really mean what I'm saying, but I love the angry comments. If I have 500 comments on a video like that, I respond to every one. And like half of them will troll, half of them will say it's just a joke. It depends, right? If they're like really vicious, then I'll just troll them and I'll be like, well, your kills don't count, so like ha or something like that because you're aim assist. But bro, I love making those. You know what's funny? I love making those TikToks because it gives me enjoyment. But on the other hand, I also lose followers every time I make one.
You know what? You gotta throw stones a little bit, right? But
A little bit, yeah. Like you gotta start beef with people once in a while. Beef with
Yeah,
pandas, like that was good shit. That was good shit. It was fun. His
yeah.
followers hated me after that. Me and him were just like talking in the comments, having a good time, right? But I'm like playing this villain character. It's like I'm going like I was like going heel in the Apex community, you know?
Oh yeah, I threw stones at the people who tell you to memorize recoil patterns. And a really big TikToker
Yeah.
became my friend because of it, who is pro recoil memorization.
Yeah,
Now we
dude.
play together.
I was just thinking that. I didn't even put it together because I saw your recoil pattern bit on TikTok, and then I was like, "Yo, fucking Round Nose is gonna be like, I wonder what he's gonna say about this, right?" And then when I was on your stream the other day, you were playing with him, and I'm like, "Huh, I guess no hard feelings."
Yeah, we became friends because of it. And it doesn't matter that we agree. Like I intentionally stirred the pot in my TikTok just to see what would happen. I do believe that, but I was intentionally stirring it a little bit just to see how it would work out. And he got a little mad and we talked about it. And he said, we shook hands. We're on either side of the fence. Doesn't matter. It's just content. Let's play together.
And that's good. That's good that you're able to. That's like a maturity factor too. You guys are both like, above the average age of, I'd say, Apex players, right? And so you guys have a disagreement like that. You're like kind of, agree to disagree, shake hands, and now you're friends legitimately. Whereas some people, I feel like in your younger years and stuff, like that's, you know what I mean? Like those conflicts can be like friend breaking almost.
Yeah, the maturity level's sometimes not there.
Yeah. When you get older, you realize like, just opinions are opinions. Like you can be friends with people that you have absolute complete opposite opinions with. And that's how it should be. Like people are so divided nowadays, right? So
the best friends have differing opinions. That makes for the best conversations. You're getting different perspectives.
Absolutely. The most growth from the conversations, the most interesting conversations, 110%. I agree with that.
You can't surround yourself with yes men. You can't do that.
True. Unless, I don't know, I was trying to relate that to North Korea somehow. Because then you end up like, North Korea, Kim Jong-un, he's like filled with yes men. It's like the worst country in the world, though.
Yeah. I mean, look at it.
Don't get me wrong. I'd love to be a fucking dictator. I would be the best ruler ever.
But, yeah, sure.
I mean, for me, I don't know what
everybody thinks they would be the best.
That's true. Yeah. I don't know if I'd make a good dictator. Maybe I'll rule Canada one day.
Yeah.
So you're from the USA, right?
Right.
And what state were you from?
I'm originally from California.
Okay.
But we moved to Texas. Oh my God, about 13 years ago.
Oh, that's okay. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. So I've been in Texas quite a while now. Texas definitely more my style than California was.
Yeah. How so?
Like, I grew up very questionable part of California. Very questionable part.
Compton?
No. I grew up around Richmond and Oakland in the Bay Area. So like a lot of the trouble that was in those cities at that time spread outside of those cities, and it was just became a lifestyle. So like we kind of had an ultimatum when we moved here. My parents were like, "Hey, you got to move with us, or you're on your own," right? Because we were definitely going down the wrong path at that time of my life. So it was good for me to move to Texas. Change my world. I thought the whole world was like that. You know? A lot of trouble. I don't have any of my friends alive anymore at this point. I can't look them up on Facebook and go and check out my friends anymore. They're gone. They're in jail for life or dead. It was different lifestyle.
Wow, that's rough. And like I was thinking economically, but I guess there's that side of things too, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, at that time, in when the internet wasn't so huge, that was what you thought the world was. It was just a lot of trouble. Weird. I can't explain it. I
mhm.
literally thought the whole world was like you can't make it unless you know, do it the wrong way. Like I didn't know any successful people.
Okay.
So like coming to Texas where they have more millionaires than any other state, it was insane to me. It was insane to me.
It kind of gave you like a sense of hope, like, oh wait, I can work for something and be something one day. I don't have to do these.
Yeah, like I can do things differently and achieve more because of it.
Right. Land of
Like I
opportunity. American
exactly, yeah.
dream.
Exactly. It's a different world. It's a different world. I'm Things are probably very different now because social media connects everybody.
Hmm.
But, I think me and my friends and everybody that I knew at that point in time, it just felt like the world was closed off to you, and that all around the world had to be the same as the microcosm that we were in.
Wow, that's such a strange perspective because it's like in the same country. Like California and Texas aren't that far away. Like, what is there, 2 states in between?
Yeah, there's not not that many. There's a couple of states, but yeah, I mean, Texas literally was a culture shock to me. I did my senior year of high school in Texas, and it was the strangest experience. I remember coming home and talking to my parents and explaining how people were behaving like I was describing alien life. I can't even explain to you how weird it was to me. I just didn't imagine that the world could be so different.
That's that's incredible because that's the same fucking country. Like, could you imagine like living in, I don't know, living with like the Inuit up north or something, or like the Eskimos and learning
Right.
their way of life and like so many different ways of life that you can live on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah. But like you don't see it. You didn't see it at that time.
Yeah.
You didn't know like that there was any different out there. And so coming to Texas and talking to people and telling them what home was like and and the way that I acted versus the way that they acted, like it was culture shock for me. It was life changing.
Yeah. And what is this? So you were in school at the time, like high school or something?
Yeah, I did my senior year here in Texas.
Okay, so is that
So
grade 12 last year?
yeah, grade 12 my last year.
Okay. So what was the I don't understand exactly how you went to school as a grade 12 person or senior, and like how was there such a culture shock between a grade 12 in California in Oakville, I think is what you said, in Texas. How was there such a big divide between grade 12 students? Can you explain that
Um
more?
how do it feels silly to describe it to people. I don't usually really talk about a lot about what California was like, but like my part of California during that time, the growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't live in a great area, and all of my friends were in the same boat. So like, I mean, just as an example, that I remember vividly, like 2 weeks before we moved, I had a buddy, um, was like fresh out of high school. He was like 19. And he spent the night at my house. We hung out. We were like, hey man, we're gonna still see each other, whatever. Played video games all night. And like the week we were moving, just a couple days before we moved, still in the process of finishing our packing and loading up the U-Haul. And he got into some trouble. He got shot a couple times. They paraded him around town in their trunk, showing him off to other people. And then when he finally passed, they dumped him in a dumpster. Like that was my buddy fresh out of high school, you know? Um, and that was just a couple days before we left. So it was it's a different world, different world.
And so
And so, you know,
there was a lot of gang violence.
a lot of violence. You know, um when you're poor and your parents were poor and your grandparents were poor and you've never experienced the culture around the world and elsewhere, and you don't know anybody successful, and the only people you see with money got it through nefarious ventures, um you truly believe that that's the only way to get ahead. And so that's what your whole life is. That your whole life is just a different perspective. And then we come to Texas, and because of the difference in California to Texas prices, we were fortunate to come into a very nice area of Texas. And it was just mind blowing to me. You know, I'm going to school with people whose parents are business owners, doctors, and this or that. They own race cars because they have the money to spend on that hobby. And what? your your parents own a business
And a
they
tiger?
don't, right? They don't have to work every day. They don't, like, no way. No way.
Yeah.
Just-
And why do you think there are such stark differences in specifically your area of Texas and that area of San Francisco? What do you think leads to those drastic differences?
It's just not being connected to the world. So like nowadays, when you look back, when I look at California and you look at the crime statistics that are out there now, and because there's been more effort made to connect people, and we have social media now and stuff, like crime rate now in the worst parts of California has completely changed. It's plummet. It's not to say that there's not bad areas anymore. I'm sure there is, but it's a completely different view. Like the summer that we left, they were breaking homicide records, and it was summer, and they broke homicide records for the previous year. And
Yeah.
it's mind, you know, and you come to Texas, and in that specific town of almost 100,000 people, the only murder that they can remember was like 10 years ago. You got to be kidding me. What, 10 years ago? Like that seemed crazy. It's just different, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really relate too much. Like I grew up in a small town, so there isn't gangs. Like they just don't exist, right? Like they're non-existent.
Yeah, but
So,
because that was the culture, I think a lot of it wasn't even gangs. Like I knew people in gangs, don't get me wrong, but it was just the culture. Like my buddies weren't in gangs. They're, you know, they're all gone for one reason or the other now.
would you compare it to like modern day Chicago or?
There's a lot of similarities. I know that Chicago's pretty rough. I don't know how bad Chicago is right now. So, but I would imagine that the culture is very much the same. When that's all you see and that's what you grew up in and you don't know anything else, that's what you believe is the world.
Mm. And so they would have social media and stuff. So we were talking. I was asking like, what do you think made that massive difference between Texas and California? So like you were saying social media. So Chicago has access to social media and stuff. So what do you think is a good way to prevent that type of living nowadays? Is it like more education, better primary schools? Like what would you say? Do you have any ideas?
I think that's tough. The only thing, so for me, what changed my perspective was the exposure to what's possible. Because when you hear about what's possible and you see people on TV being successful at this or that, it doesn't feel real because you don't know them, you don't see them. So like somebody telling you about it's not necessarily something you believe. So like, I think the only thing that could possibly help people would be to really, really get involved with showing them what's possible. You know, there's a lot of programs out there like what do they call it? like big brother, big sister type programs where you mentor kids and stuff. But I think it would be super cool if a lot of business owners and well-to-do people would actually go and speak to communities like that, just to give them real life, like tangible. I see this. This is now real because I see it. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I don't know. I wish I knew the solution, because that would be cool. Like, it's hard. I speak to my girlfriend now about it. Like, I can't express how different I view the world now compared to what I viewed it like then. It's hard to actually put into words.
Yeah. I think that's like a potential solution, what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Right? Like where I grew up, we used to have this guy, or I mean, he's still here. He still lives in my town. I just moved home in May, right? I've been in big city for 4 years for college, or for university. But we have this guy in my hometown. He has like a bunch of cars. He's got like, like a C8 Corvette. He has like a Lambo, like a bunch of really nice cars, right? And he'll take them to the youth center, and then him and a couple of his friends will take the kids in like rides in these crazy nice cars for this area, because nobody like would have a car like that in a town of 9,000, right?
Yeah.
So I remember going on rides at the youth center when I was a kid, and I wasn't even part of the youth center at all. I would just go there for the car night, right? And he would talk to us, and his friends would talk to us too, because they were all successful, and they would talk to us about, what they did to get where they are and that sort of thing. And they talked about investing a lot, and like putting off, thinking in the long term was a big thing they always talked about. Was like, short-term thoughts are going to get you nowhere. Short-term goals, you got to think in the long term. Every decision you make should be long term. And it was like, I think that had a big impact on me when I was younger. I was in like grade 8, so.
Yeah. I one of my vivid memories of my senior year here was, they had you guys probably don't have it, but they had a Chick-fil-A business owner come in and speak to our class, and we got to like interview him and how much money he made, and he was super transparent, like how he got there, what he did, and how much money he made, and how much money he had to put in, and all of this stuff. And that was like the first time in my life where it clicked, like, holy crap, like this guy did it. That was a very cool experience for me, but that was not an experience that I was able to even get, and like, it's not available for me to get in part of California that I grew up in. It's kind of like the less well-off areas at that time were separated and not exposed to the things that, areas that might have been seen as safer were exposed to.
Right. And there would still be places like, old school San Francisco, like you're talking about 90s, early 2000s, like, those similar scenarios are probably happening like all over the world. Like, could you imagine like Mumbai, India or something with like 15 million people in a city? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of separation, and I got to experience it from the other side, being in a nice area in Texas, simply because of the home values difference. And it on the nicer side of things, people are afraid of those kinds of areas, or areas they perceive as not on their level, and that makes them avoid it. But I don't think it's malicious either. It's just they view it as a safety thing, which was strange to me. But at the same time, they don't know any better either. You know what I mean? Just kind of a lack of information on both sides.
Right. And yeah, now information is so abundant nowadays. Like you were talking with social media, right? Like, information, like even my experience with a university, I've felt that getting my degree and things like the information we learn in school, it's just like, it doesn't seem like it's up to date. It doesn't seem relative. Like I just got this job, like yesterday, I just got a new job, and I basically got the job not because my degree was almost finished. I got the job because I have experience in social media. I got a job as a social media coordinator for a tech firm in my area. And like they didn't give a fuck about my degree at all, because like they knew that we don't learn any of this shit. I even said I kind of wanted to be the first person to interview because like we didn't learn anything about this modern day marketing source. Social media marketing's been around for a fucking decade. Why are we not learning about this in university?
Yeah.
In a marketing degree with business school, like what? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
And information is so abundant nowadays. You can take Udemy courses and stuff, and you'll be very controversial. But in my opinion, like a couple Udemy courses to learn actual skills and stuff is way more valuable than your 4 or 5 year degree or your MBA or whatever. Because everybody and their fucking dog has a degree nowadays. They aren't worth shit, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's I think there's a lot of hope for education in the future, because everybody kind of laughs at all of these, course creators now, right? But the reality is that if I can go and select a course with pinpoint information, I can learn something faster without learning all the shit that I didn't want to learn with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't have to go to a college course and fill my schedule with shit that I don't care about and do a course for a year, when I could learn that same course in a crash course, highly specific set of information in 3 or 4 days and get the same information.
And you can do that from your own home. If there's a workplace paying for you to do it too, you can do it like at work, right? Say your workplace is like, we want you to learn video editing. Can you take this Udemy course, take 2 hours a day, put it towards this course every day? Like, way more convenient. Whereas like sometimes companies will pay for your tuition and send you to college and stuff, but like that's not practical for you or the company.
Yeah. I think we're headed towards that kind of like course catalog type education, because like you said, like it or not, degrees are becoming less relevant in the workforce. I mean, experience is more valued than degrees.
Right.
And that's not something that was true when our parents were, going and starting their careers. At that time, your degrees were more valuable than your experience, because you couldn't get the experience.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care anymore. Most places don't care anymore.
And not as many people had degrees back then, right? But like nowadays, at least for probably the last, nowadays people are just pushed. Like teacher always tell you, or you always see those memes online, right? It's like, the mom saying to her kid, see that plumber over there? If you don't go to school and get a good job, you're gonna end up like him. Meanwhile, the plumber's making like 90 grand a year in his fucking apprenticeship, and their mom's like a secretary or something, has $100,000 in student debt. Like,
I did finance for years, for quite a long time, and so I got to see intimate peeks into people's finances, and especially in America, student loan debt balanced with the income that they were making with all of that student loan debt, it literally never made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And which is just very indicative of our cultures and how our systems are currently structured.
Yeah, this current education system is just fucked, I feel. Like, I feel like high school, and this is an opinion, right? Like, I think it's a good opinion at least, right? But like, I feel like high school should be teaching you, not, because every person in high school, it was like, get good grades so you get into a good university. Get good grades so you get into a good university. I don't know how it works in the States. I feel like it's more like that in the States, but in Canada, the universities usually don't give a fuck. They don't actually care what your high school grades are at all. Like, I got in the best business school in my province. My grades were, I got honor roll, so like, what is that, 80 to 90, I think, right, for high school? And so that's not that great, and I got in like no problems, and I had people with worse grades than me who got in. So I don't know what the point was in that, but it was like, seeing if you're not going to school, you're like a lesser person. Like, I knew people, I knew families with like kids, right? So like daughters and stuff who were like 18, my age, whatever, and they would say like they're not allowed to have a boyfriend who's not in university. Like, they're not allowed in the house unless they're a student. Like, god dang, that's sketchy, bro. Like, and especially that you see nowadays, it's like, everybody's got a degree. Nobody gives a damn about your degree. Most people I know who have graduated business school, and I still plan on finishing my degree, although I'm doing it online, like in the evenings type of thing. And over the next how many years, I don't care how long it takes me. I'll finish it over 5 years if I have to, taking like one course a semester, right? But God damn, I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying?
You're talking about degrees.
Oh yeah, my buddies who have actually done their degrees and stuff, like they're making crap wages. They're making like $15 to $19 an hour. I don't know anybody who's making more than $20 an hour. And of course, in Canada, that sounds like a decent amount in the States, but in Canada, like our money's different, right? So your minimum wage is $7, ours is $13. So like, you know, put in perspective, that's probably like $14 an hour American, right? So
yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big school lover. I never have been. I've always been the guy that kind of exploited the school system. I found out really, really early on that it didn't really matter if I got good grades or not. I could pass if I did the bare minimum, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
My parents, it stressed the shit out of my parents, and my teachers always hated me for it, but it doesn't matter if I pass with an A or with a D, as long as I pass. It still counts as a pass. So I did the bare minimum. I didn't
get degrees.
Dude, I'm sorry. I had no desire to go to college or university. You know, I knew my goals, and college and university was not in my cards from a very early age. That was not for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't go. I didn't go into the debt. I didn't, you know, I graduated high school and went into sales. So like I didn't need anything for that. I accomplished my goals and did exactly what I wanted to do without any of that.
Yeah. And that's good on you. I know Elon Musk has said, I don't know if it was in his Joe Rogan podcast or a different interview, but I remember him saying that who should he hire as an employer? Should he hire the engineer who went to school for 5 years, got the college degree, like has $120,000 in debt? Or should he hire the guy who basically didn't go to school at all, but has a couple years of experience, even just 2 years of experience over the 5-year degree, who has zero student debt and has been making money the whole time? Who's the smarter hire for him? He said he would take the guy without the degree who used his brain every single fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's more and more studies coming out about what's the comparison of wages if you skip college and you start working right away versus if you go to college and then come out and try to get a job in that field.
Mm-hmm.
And those studies look promising for potentially skipping. That's not to say you don't ever need to go, right? Like obviously you want your doctor to be well trained.
Yeah.
But man, dude, there's, you know, working in the financial space, I can't tell you how many people I saw. They're $100,000 in debt because their parents pushed them to some bright, shiny university so that they can say, my student went to so and so, and they're out. They're out in an assistance position, and making 30 grand a year. You're never going to pay that debt off. They're never going to pay it off. It's crazy.
It's so true, because the jobs they're getting afterwards, like we said, there's so many damn degrees out there. Nobody gives a fuck about your degree right now. That like they're gonna be making like $15 an hour with 100 grand in debt. Well, like the payments per month on that are insane. Like I don't know what the payments per month. I know in Canada we have to pay our students loans off within like 5 years, I think. So like my student loan payments would be like $980 if I they'd be like $980 once I start a month, which is.
Can you imagine having $1,000 a month student loan? You're bringing in only $3,000 or $4,000, then you're losing, you know, $1,000 or so to taxes. You're left with $2,000 to live, survive, pay rent, start a family. What are you gonna do? It's tough. It's tough.
And like people in their 20s and stuff, obviously when you normally graduate, like they want to be buying a house, getting a mortgage, paying that sort of shit down. But like bank looks at your $120,000 student loan, and it's like, I don't know if we want to give you a mortgage right now.
I mean, that was the situation that, you know, you're in a lot. Like they need a car, then they need a house or rent, and there's nothing left. There's nothing left. But again, I didn't realize this until I got into finance. But, you know, your average American has less than 30 days of expenses in their bank account.
Right.
Which is scary, terrifying. Your average American can't handle a couple of weeks without a paycheck. That's scary.
That is pretty rough.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard stats like that. I'm sure it's the exact same in Canada. Like we're not different at all when it comes to financials and stuff, really.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Yeah, you definitely needed that rainy day fund, so.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for all of the opportunities we have to not be preparing yourself for the worst and preparing your future just is weird.
For
But
sure.
it's misguided education. Where are you taught to balance your finances? Because I was never taught that.
Yeah, I've gone through 4 years of business school, economics, and whatever, all those courses. Still haven't learned it there either.
Yeah, you can look at an expense sheet, but you can't balance it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And plus, like, in my experience with school, I don't know if I'm just a bad student or whatever, right? But I'll study for the test. I'll get a good mark on the test. The day after, if you want me to do that test again, I will get 20% less than I did the day before.
Yeah.
Like, you study for that one test, and then like the day after, I forget what the fuck we were learning for the last 3 months.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just memorization.
Yeah. It's like, how is this going to help me in like 2 years' time? It really doesn't. It like feeds your subconscious maybe some like good information. But
yeah. I would like to see school change, like early school years change to teach you how to learn. Especially now as adults, we have access to all this information on Google.
Mm-hmm.
I wish somebody had gone and taken the time, not necessarily for me, because I feel like I do a good job of this, but I wish somebody had gone and taken the time to tell people how to use the internet to discern what's good information, what's bad, and how to learn from the good information that's out there. Because I feel like nobody knows how to do that.
And I would say that just like strategies for learning, because like one strategy for learning, let's say flashcards and stuff, maybe that works insanely well for some people, some kids, but then for other people it doesn't work at all. So then you use this other strategy for learning. I know my first year in university, at the university I went to, you have to take an academic writing course. So it was 2 parts. First part of the semester was learning how to write academically, writing proper essays, citing things like, like Chicago, MLA, what's the other one? APA, like it explained the different ways, and you did a lot of testing to like make sure you were ready for academic writing. And then unit 2, which was, there were only 2 units, so this is 2 months each, right, was just strategies of learning. Like we were forced to take this course where all you learned were different strategies for learning, and you tested them out, and you kind of felt what worked best for you. And we looked at the end of the class, and it was like probably 180 people in that class. We looked at like the strategy of who just like, so you would pick one of the strategies that worked best for you, and you like reported it. And like it was completely divided. There was like 10 different strategies, let's say, and it was like not like one clear strategy was best for everybody. Like everybody had a different strategy that worked best for them, which I thought was really fascinating, because it just proves the point that some things work for some people and they don't work for others.
Yeah, and that's super cool. And I wish more things like that were taught to me when I was young, and were taught to our kids now going through school. I wish that stuff was, I wish that was prioritized. Here's how to learn. Here is how to continue your education in a way that is important for you.
Even if they taught that in like primary school, like every like couple years, just the way they teach like sex ed, they teach it every 2 years here in Canada, right? Like grade 5, 7, 9, whatever. If they taught like the learning thing every 2 years too, to like really ingrain it. So maybe in grade 5 you're just fucking around, you don't pay attention. Maybe grade 7 you're fucking around, you don't pay attention. Then grade 9 comes along, like high school and it gets a little more intense, and that would be great information. Yeah.
Can you imagine if you had it's funny, I remember this when Google became popular. Everybody joked about Google Foo. I'm fluent in Google Foo. I'm fluent in Google, Googleese. Right?
Okay.
You can Google and learn information in an effective way. Can you imagine if you had these skills that you have now with Google and learning things, learning how to do good on TikTok and discerning things? Imagine if you had those skills when you were like starting that budding curiosity, like that 12, 13, 14 years old, where you start to get curious about the world. Imagine if you could go online and actually find out things you wanted to learn about. Where would you be now if you had started figuring out the things that were important to you 10 years earlier?
Yeah.
I'd be in a very different place.
Yeah, you hopefully be a more intelligent person in general, right? Just that access to that amount of information.
Yeah, we right now it's they joke that your 20s is about figuring out who you are. What if we were able to start that 10 years earlier? What if our teens was about that?
Right. That's true. That's what I always say about high school. Is high school should kind of be taught like that. It's like it shouldn't be taught everybody go to university. It should be like find your special talents, what you enjoy doing. It should be about finding yourself so that you're ready when it's time to go to university. You can decide, am I going to university? Am I going to college? Am I not going to college? Am I starting a business? Am I working my way up in a company? What is best suited to me? That's what it should be about, not university or you're a dud for society.
Right. I just can't imagine coming out of high school with a game plan and a mission and being able to hit the ground running with the energy that you have fresh out of high school. That desire you have to be an adult and prove yourself.
Right.
Imagine if you didn't have to waste that figuring out what you actually wanted to do.
And the thing is, most people, they like, some people fake it when they're coming out of high school. They're like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get a good job because that's what they've been told, and they fake it to make everyone else happy. And then 3 years down the line, they drop out of school and they start traveling fucking Europe or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the world would be a better place if everybody could figure that shit out earlier on.
Yeah,
I think it'd be cool.
We get the best out of everybody. If they found what works for them, found something that they're better than everybody else at, they work towards it. Yeah. Like, we'd all be better off for it.
I think that'd be so cool.
So you're supposed to be an apex predator, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do yet. But I'm in my 20s, so I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
But I should have figured it out 5 years ago.
Hey, that's the way I see it. Dude, I 31 now. And you know, I spent from 18 on working in various fields of sales and owning companies where I was selling things to customers, and I would have taken a very different path if I knew the things that I learned in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be here at 31 years old now trying to grow my presence online and do. I always wanted to be a competitive gamer. Always. But I was so pushed away from that I finally put that energy into something else. And you know, when you start making good money doing something else, you just kind of lose it. Yeah. And so like literally, regardless of how much income I made in my 20s, I spent it and I wasn't very happy with myself for it. Right. So I joke with people, this is chasing a childhood dream for me. This is what I always wanted to do that I was steered away from, unfortunately. So I'm doing it now. I just wish I could have started 10 years ago.
Right. And what do you think you would have needed to start that 10 years ago? Like support? Develop confidence in yourself that you can do it, or like what? Anything.
I think when you're that, you know, you're 18 to 20, you rely a lot on your parents, and they try their best to guide you with what they believe is right. And at that time, they believed that it was right that I go out into the working force and, you know, because streaming and gaming is just not realistic. That was the belief then for their generation. And unfortunately, they pushed that a lot onto me, and I chose to go with what they said. I don't think it was with malicious intent. Again, that's just where the world's at, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to learn things and try new things and evolve. And you're young and impressionable, and everybody around you is telling you that's not a good idea. You're just trying to do the right thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. But did you always feel you always felt in your heart though that competitive gaming, like that was the thing? Was it always competitive gaming?
Yeah, I mean, I started competing in my first tournaments. I guess they can't come get me now, right? But you know, underlying about my age, I was very young. I was very young. Counter-Strike came out in 2001 or 2000, and tournaments started a couple years later. So I was like 13, 14 years old telling them I was older and competing. I enjoyed gaming. I enjoyed everything about gaming. I didn't really know how to make money in it at that time, but I knew I wanted to do something with gaming, and I was very steered away from that at that point. Like tournaments back then, it's crazy now. Like you're younger than I am, but not by a lot. It's just that there's that few year difference where gaming went from nothing. Like we would compete in tournaments for nothing. You guys, we joke now about tournaments for $100. That was all that was available then, except for that weird random one-off tournament that happened every now and then, but it was still for nothing. We're talking like the biggest tournaments back then were $20,000 pots.
Yeah.
And now you got like League of Legends with 10 million, $20 million pots. What?
Or
that
even
was
Apex,
not a thing
right?
then. Right.
Like, Apex last ALGS was like what, 2.1 million total pot, right? So
right. There was no money in that back then. There was not. But then just a couple of years later, it all exploded. But I had already given it up. I was already deep in my career and chasing what I thought was the dream. So you know, all it took was a few year difference. I was just
Right.
a few years early or a few years late, I guess.
That's the thing. I find that like people who are really successful in life, they latch on to something like obviously before its peak stage, right? Whether it's like you were a pro gamer and then all of a sudden pro gaming takes off and then you go to the top, right? Or like maybe yeah. Sorry, what?
I could have rode it to the top.
I mean,
You
yeah,
never
I
know.
don't want to like go back in your history and be like, what if you did this? You'd be a millionaire. But like,
I know, man. I think about that. Like all of these big streamers now started when I gave it up.
right.
Nick Merckx, Dr. Disrespect, they started when I gave it up.
Mhm.
What if I had started with them?
What if? You'd be on Nick Merck's podcast right now instead of T-Steak 98s.
Yeah, right. But you look at me. I'm not gonna live in what if. I've figured out what I want to do, and I don't want to live life with regret. So I'm doing it.
That's
I'm doing it.
so true. Not living life with regret. That's I do that sometimes too. Like I remember I had I compete in entrepreneur competitions and stuff, right? So we do like, you know, Shark Tank.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my favorite show ever.
Yeah, so we do Shark Tank pitches to investors, and I'm part of a group who actually plans them for students now. So like I'm part of the mentorship program, and we help students get their presentations and their businesses together so they can present to investors. And I remember I knew how much time it took to put on those events. So I was at someone else's event, right? And I competed in it. And then I went up and I did a spiel about an event that my organization was planning in the future. So I spoke about this event, and you guys should come to it to another event. And I remember thinking I should have like commended the job that these guys did putting on this event because I knew how much work it did, and I always regretted that. So the next competition I was at that wasn't our own competition. I went up. And I just like stole the microphone from one of the organizers. I wasn't supposed to speak at all. I grabbed the microphone. I was like, "Can I say something?" And they looked at me like, "What?" And I was just like, "Just trust me." So then I went up there and I just gave them. I got the audience to give them a round of applause and stuff. And I said like, "I know how much effort goes into these. Let's give a round of applause for these guys." Blah blah blah. And then I went and sat down. And like, I don't know, that just felt so much better because I had regretted the past experience from the last event, probably the 3 months in between. And then there, I was sitting at my table with my group. We had just finished competing. We got second place, by the way. So.
There you go.
But I was like, you know, I'm going to regret this if I don't do it. So I just did it. And now I try and live my life like that. If I think I'm going to regret it, I just go fucking do it. So,
Dude.
I mean, I try. It doesn't happen all the time.
You know, they say if you've ever been to a retirement home, the number one thing that all of the old people will tell you is regret. I wish. I regret.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be an amazing experience to go through one of those homes and ask every person in there what's something you regret? Like,
yeah. I regret that I didn't do this. I regret that I didn't try this. I should have. I wish. That is literally what every old person talks about when they're in that stage of their life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to regret anything, man. I'm not going to do it. I already regret so many of my choices, and I'm not going to do it anymore.
Right. And now you're making me think because like I said, I just got a new job yesterday. I had 2 job offers on the table, right? Completely different jobs. One was moving up to the Arctic Circle in Nunavut, like way up, 3,000 kilometers north of where I am, and that's in Canada already. So way up there, right? Like Baffin Island. And then this other job, which is with a tech firm, and both, you know, have their benefits and stuff. But that one was obviously fucking crazy, and everyone was telling me not to do it. And I was like, I kind of want to do this. It sounds really fun. But you know, this job, I do see that I can grow with. I mean, you're making me rethink things. But no, I'm definitely happy with the job I did take. But I got one more question for you because I'm gonna let you go here. I know we're over an hour now, but this is my signature question. I've been trying to ask at the end of every interview, or no, podcast, not interview, right? So if you could step into my shoes, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't?
Something you couldn't possibly know to ask, but I think is valuable, is what is the methodology that made you who you are? Because everybody has a methodology, an approach to what they're doing.
Right.
And I think it's really, really important. I don't think the information that you get from somebody is very relevant, because that information is out of date the minute that you get it. But 5 years from now, if the way they got that information was right, 5 years from now, they have new information because they continued to follow and develop that methodology. It's like social media. I said this on stream the other day. I can't tell you exactly what works on social media because it doesn't matter. A year from now, that same exact thing won't work. What will work is the methodology that worked a year ago. So however I developed myself to be popular today, I can continue developing that to be popular 5 years from now.
Right.
If all you do is copy exactly what I do, you're already behind.
Okay, I see. So what is your methodology then?
My methodology is to just try as many things as possible until you discover what works, right?
Yeah.
You discover what works, you take what works, and you just continue refining that and running with that, and then recycling that idea.
No, 100%.
Yeah. I have something that works on TikTok right now, but you bet your ass I'm still trying new things because I may find something that works better.
Right.
And then when I do, I'm going to run with it and then still try new things.
100%. And the current gravy train you're using, that maybe you tried things in the past, you're like, this works, and you keep doing it. Like, yeah. I find that eventually that gravy train runs out, right? You'll do that one theme, and then all of a sudden the views are getting lower and lower and lower and lower,
yeah.
and it dies, right?
If you're not moving forward, you're falling behind.
Yeah. 100% true. That's great advice for content creation specifically, and life in general, but content creation 100% too.
Yeah. Everything's like that.
That's true. I always find lots of advice like that carries over to so many different categories of everything. Like life.
Everything evolves, man. That's the great thing, right? Like a season 4 Predator can't compete with a season 10 Predator.
Right, yeah.
And that's a video game. Right?
Yeah.
A business owner 40 years ago can't compete with a business owner today.
True.
Can't do it.
They'd just be like, I don't want to get on that social media stuff. It's like, sure, exactly. But this guy's going to spend a fraction of what you are in fucking marketing and blow you out of the water.
You either move forward or you're falling behind. That's everything.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. That's why I never want to get one of those old guys who's like, you know, oh, I don't want to learn that new thing. I don't want to learn that new thing. And all of a sudden you're putting off that new thing and like 80% of the population knows it and you're still like trying to stay in the old ways, you know?
Yeah.
Old guy syndrome.
Old guy syndrome.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Sturke, I appreciate you having on the podcast. I'm going to let you get to your Apex Masters games. We hope you get pred. Maybe this split or next split. Either you're going to get pred one of these days, 100%.
Oh, I'm getting pred.
I'll look for it on your TikTok. I'm sure there'll be a big post about it. I'm sure you'll get like 5 million likes or whatever. It'll be great. I look forward to seeing you finally hit pred. I'll make sure to comment something nice, or I'll make sure to comment something sly, like, you know,
something sly.
Like I'd be pred if I had aim assist too, right?
Yeah.
Just your whole comments will troll me and it'll blow your post up even more.
There you go.
Fucking perfect. I'll make sure to do that. But where can everybody find you?
I stream on YouTube, so But honestly, if you just Google Sturke on YouTube, I pop up everywhere.
See, he's
It's
famous.
really that simple.
Google
Yeah.
Sturke, he comes up everywhere.
I rule the #1 search result when you Google search on YouTube, and I rule like the next 30 search results. So bring it on.
Damn, Sturke is is that Sturke your actual name?
Sturke is not my name. No,
Okay.
no. Sturke is just a combination of words. I forget what you call it, but it's a combination of words to form a new word.
What words?
My name.
Oh,
Stephen Burke.
So what kind of is your name?
Stephen Burke.
Okay. So it kind of is your name, actually.
Kinda. I mean, I guess it's just a catchy nickname, but yeah, I wanted to make something that was unique, and that's what I did.
No, that's a great name, 100%. And when did you come up with that?
Like the day before I went live.
Oh, damn. Okay. Stir the moment. I think it's great though. Like, I don't know if you're planning on changing anytime soon or whatever, but I think it's really good. So
yeah, I wanted something short and catchy and memorable. And it's easy to say, it's memorable, and everybody will remember it. Yeah,
URLs and stuff are, it's probably not many taken like names on social media, right? Like, it's not super common, so
doesn't exist.
Yeah, perfect. All right, well, yeah, we'd love having you on. I appreciate you coming on for episode 3. You were episode 3, so congrats on all your success so far on Twitch and TikTok for sure. I'm sure there's a lot more to come. I'm sure you'll be hitting Pred in the next week or so. So we look forward to following you there. And thanks again for coming on, mate.
Thanks, dude. Have a good one.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Alrighty. So that was our podcast for the day. Thank you to everybody who came and hung out in the chat. Lemon Wedges, I saw you in there. Green Arrow, everybody. I don't talk to chat too much when we're doing a podcast, just because when it's like heard afterwards, then like I mean it's less relatable. Anyway, I don't know if that fucking makes sense. I'm sure you get it. But yeah, so we got a page up here, so all the chat comes up on screen though. So when this goes live on YouTube, all of your chats are visible on the YouTube video for the foreseeable future for the rest of time. So hopefully that makes up for it a little bit. But thank you for everyone who came out, even just stopped by, listened to a little bit. Again, Lemon Wedge was our episode 2. He was great. Thanks again to Sturke. Why the hell can't I close the Zoom meeting? This is very interesting. I don't know what's going on. Fucking computer. I hate you so much. Thanks again to Sturke for coming on. We hope Sturke continues to progress in his Twitch, in his TikTok. Sorry, in his YouTube, in his TikTok, everything else he's doing right now. He's doing a great job. He's putting in the work. For sure, putting in tons of work, hours a day, like he said, 6 hours probably minimum streaming. I think he was lying. I swear to God, he puts more than 6 hours in his streams. I think that was a little bit humble, a little bit of an understatement there, because he's always friggin' streaming, man. Like he's putting in the work, so he definitely deserves what he's got so far. He puts in the time editing and that sort of thing afterwards. So yeah, just a great guy to listen to. Go find him on TikTok. Go find him on YouTube. He has some great tips for you. I met Sturke, by the way, just a random game. I saw he had YouTube in his name. He used to be Sturke on YouTube. And so I was like, hey, bro, I'm streaming too, because I was streaming at the time. So, that's how. So sometimes you get to meet people through solo queue. And sometimes you meet people on Twitch, TikTok, wherever else, right? So thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 3. We will be filming episode 4 next week. We have Jay Bish lined up, I believe, for episode 4. We may have somebody else lined up if that doesn't work out. He might be episode 5 or something like that, but that's who we're talking to right now and getting scheduled. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys in the future, and thank you for hanging out. Peace and have a great weekend. Thank you guys. Peace.